Hello, hello, hello. This is Donna Marie, Coach Donna Marie, and I'm coming to you today to talk about this topic of the exhaustion is real for Black women leaders. This is a topic that's near and dear to my heart because I have had my own struggles and challenges dealing with different isms at work, racism, sexism, at this point, ageism, uh, largeism or fatism, lots of different isms. I've talked about this in some of my Medium writings at leadlikeaqueen.medium.com. That's my blog, my Medium blog. A lot of times people are just, you know, saying things, doing things that are inappropriate, and it can make you really uncomfortable. Sometimes people will overlook you for opportunities because of these isms. And so, these are things that affect real people's lives. And when you find yourself having to fight these things, it can be exhausting. And I've shared some examples of women who've talked about this openly and shared through their own writings or their YouTube channels. So if you'd like to see some of the folks that I recommended for that, check out my latest article over at leadlikeaqueen.medium.com. My latest article, I shared shared about a few different people who talked about this in a little bit more detail than what I'm sharing. I'm not sharing details about what I've personally been through, not on this episode, at least not in this context, but I'm sharing the fact that this is a thing. Black women have to fight. They go, they ask for help, they don't get help. It's exhausting. They don't get real help. They get half-assed help. People who are in management and leadership positions often are ill-equipped to know how to handle these situations. And so they either don't, they ignore it, they ignore the person's complaints, or they mishandle it. And that's exhausting to have to fight by yourself all the time. People, tout all of this DE&I stuff and talk about how they want to learn and do better, but sometimes they're just talking, So there are people that aren't just talking that really do care, and you have a right to find. If you're a Black woman leader, you have a right to find those people. You have a right to know who's going to really advocate for you, who's going to really listen, who's going to really try to make things better. You have a right to do that. So I shared in that blog article about an event that happened today. It already happened today. So I wanted to share a little bit about kind of what our exchange was during that event today, because I know my article just came out a day before the event. But I'll tell you what the event was called. It was the Lean In organization, founded by Sheryl Sandberg, the former CFO of Facebook. Sheryl wrote a book called Lean In a long time ago, and she has since written other books, but she's also started an organization based off of the following she gained from writing that book called Lean In. It was a book specifically addressing women in the workplace and how, despite motherhood, they could still continue to lean in at work and seek those leadership opportunities. She gave really good practical advice. Highly recommend that book. That's one book I've recommended to many people over the years. It's an excellent book, even though it's an older book now. It's highly relevant still. And so I recommend the book, but mostly I recommend the Lean In organization. They have what's called Lean In Circles. These are groups that you can join and discuss these kinds of topics with peers. Sometimes these are groups that are created by coworkers. You may even already have one at your job if you work for a large corporation, or you could start one yourself if that's something you want to do. So check out leanin.org. They have a section now where they have talked about this topic of bias at work regarding Black women having to deal with bias. And the presenter for this particular event was absolutely excellent. I'm trying to remember her name. Let's see if I can pull up her name and share her name with you all. But the event was excellent. I really was very happy that I was able to attend that event today. And I was very happy that I was able to get a chance to talk with some of the other ladies. And I told you I was going to share some of what we talked about. So, in a nutshell, after the presentation, we were put into breakout rooms. And in these breakout rooms, we were able to discuss specific topics. They gave us like these cards for specific topics focused in on this issue. Very, very excellent event. Like I said, I'm very grateful that I got a chance to go. I'm trying to find the name of the lady. Give me a second. I took some notes and I need to find them. But this particular conversation that me and my breakout group had was specifically around the topic of, may I touch your hair when a Black woman has a natural hairstyle or has changed her hair? Some people don't know that that is not cool. That is intrusive of another person's personal space. That is just not acceptable to be putting your hands in somebody else's hair. A Black woman's hair is not a sideshow for other people. And it's just not acceptable. But unfortunately, it happens all the time. And so this is something that has to be addressed openly and dealt with so that people who care to learn can learn. If we don't take the time to talk about these things, how are people going to do better? So talking about these things openly is super important. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to do that. I'm grateful that the ladies that were in my group, I mean, they really took the time to really share very transparently and very openly. We had the opportunity to really discuss this topic. And we actually, we could have gone on twice as long talking about it, but there was only a certain amount of time allotted. But hopefully I'll be able to participate in discussions like this in the future because I believe it's very fruitful. It helps us to process things. See, when you're isolated dealing with this kind of stuff, that's exhausting. It is not helpful for us to always have to fight on our own with no support. Being able to come together and have discussions about these things and process through things. Think about solutions. Think about alternative ways to address things. You know, instead of getting angry, what are some other ways that we can address things? That'll help people listen. And also, this is the most important part, we talked about the importance of advocacy. If you see this happening to somebody and you say nothing, you are complicit. Now that you've watched this video, you know now, right? You know that's not acceptable. So if you sit and watch it and you say nothing, you're complicit. And you have to make sure that if you care, that you take the time to learn so that you can understand these things and address them properly, especially if you're a person with influence, a person with a actual position of power, especially you need to make sure that you take the time to learn. So Lean In is one of these organizations that is putting this type of information out there for you to learn. They're providing opportunities to come together in community and learn together and talk and think about things. So I highly recommend checking out leanin.org. And I'm going to find that link to the 50 Ways to Fight Bias is the name of it. I'm going to see if I can find that link and add it in the comments here. And I don't know if it'll show up on all of the comment platforms, but I'm going to try. I had this link in a different email they sent me, and it's not in this one, but I'll find it. I'll see if I can add it in to the description later in the recorded version of this video. A lot of times when we are thinking about these topics, you know, it's just a plethora of emotions when we start thinking about what it's like to go through this on our own. Sometimes we also need time to step back from things and take our own emotions out of it so that we can see things in other ways that can help us process it better, kind of break things down. So that way we can start communicating with people in even more dynamic ways so that we're not triggering their emotions and then having them shut down on us and not listening. Somebody in the meeting did bring up that topic of sometimes we need to be able to take the emotion out of it and be able to speak to people where they can really hear us. And sometimes that's difficult when you're in the midst of it and you're exhausted. But when you get in community, it can change that. It can change that dynamic for you some. So I just wanted to let y'all know about that. I will work on making sure that I get the link, but it's just leanin.org, leanin.org. You can go over there and learn more about what they're doing, but I'll see if I can find that specific link to that page. Again, the name of that event they did today, the event is past, but the name of the event was 50 Ways to Fight Bias, Black Women in the Workplace. So I hope that this has been helpful for you all. This is a short video because I really just wanted to let y'all know about the article I wrote at leadlikeaqueen.medium.com. I'm a Medium blogger, and you can find that there. And then also the best way to find any of my links is coachdonnamarie.com. So I hope that this is helpful. Again, this is real short because I've actually been recording this during my co-working session. I've talked with y'all about the power of being in community as a co-worker. This helps me to get work done. Doing my videos more frequently is one of my pieces of work that I need to get done. And hey, I'm here. It's not a long one, and that's okay, but it is very relevant, and I know that it's helpful. It helped me. The ladies that attended the event today, they definitely expressed that it was helpful for them, and I hope that you all will plug in with leanin.org or other communities, other organizations, other groups that may be helpful for you around this topic of helping to support Black women so we don't have to get so exhausted fighting by ourselves all the time. It's just not, it's not good for us. It's not good for our mental health. It's not good for our physical health. Do you know how many people are dying of heart attacks because they're stressed out? You know, and they don't have support. We got to get in community. We've got to get into these discussions together. All right, I gotta go. There's the link to coachdonnamarie.com. Thank you, Veronica, for showing up for me there. And I hope that you all have a wonderful day. And don't let yourself get all exhausted and burn out and everything. Get in community and get support. All right, be blessed.